John Cena has enjoyed a tremendous career up to 2013. He main evented WrestleMania that year and had a decent reign shortly afterwards. The champ upped his game throughout 2011 and 2012 in-ring and started to become more of a leader. Personally, I thought Cena improved tremendously in-ring around 2006, and that all built to the point where he was the guy to follow during a match. There's a reason why he loved wrestling with CM Punk was because Punk didn't expect Cena to come up with stuff during their matches. With that said, Cena's 2013 was expected to have a premature ending with an elbow injury in August of 2013, and that's a major reason why he dropped the WWE Championship to Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam. He also had a tricep injury. However, this is John Cena we're talking about. This man would always find a way to come back ahead of schedule and be booked to win a title, and that's exactly what happened. In a time of turmoil, the WWE was left with one official world champion, and that was Alberto Del Rio. He expected himself to be called the new face of WWE at the time. However, Vicky Guerrero had different plans. She revealed that Del Rio's opponent at Hell in a Cell was John Cena, and this led to the champion losing his match with Ricardo Rodriguez and obliterating him. Cena's recovery was documented, and as expected, it was normal business for him. Del Rio had great confidence in beating Cena, saying he's not the man he used to be, but with that said, this match was pretty simple. Cena had a broken elbow, a torn tricep that took time to recover, and Del Rio targeted it. The match kicked in, and it was pretty good. I thought it was better than their previous matches because they had a point to prove here. Plus, both men had improved a bit at this point. Cena scored the victory as expected and won the World Championship for the third time. So John Cena was once again World Heavyweight Champion, and it was kind of weird. You know, back then, you'd expect Cena to fight for the WWE title instead of the World title, but they were preparing something much bigger than that. The next night on Raw, Cena was glad to prove JBL wrong in his claims and said the champ is here. He's back on Raw. Cena was ready to compete as the World Heavyweight Champion. Sure, he's got to wear a brace, but who cares? Then he made mention of Orton's title celebration. And all of a sudden, Damien Sandow with the Money in the Bank briefcase came out. He called himself the uncrowned champion. Sandow said Cena was definitely not ready to fight yet. He's afraid of being cashed in on. He teased cashing in before blasting that injured arm with the briefcase. Yes, chance with every shot, and he did everything he could to weaken Cena and finally cash in that briefcase. Now, I'm gonna say, I never seen someone get destroyed so badly before a cash-in like this. Even then, this was a competitive match, which I find funny. Because it's a sudden cash-in. The challenger went to work and had an even bigger advantage than Del Rio. But if 2013 John Cena was 96 overall, this version was 92. Cena was fighting hard. He had a weak FU, which wasn't enough, or the AA, which wasn't enough, due to Sandow falling out of the ring, and despite doctor's orders, he was still going. Sandow hit his finisher, but it was still not enough. The challenger was going all out. SCF, he hit the You're Welcome. Cena kicked out. He rebounded with the AA. 1, 2, 3. Very good match. It proved that Sandow had the skills to wrestle a high-level main event match. However, he lost his briefcase. People forget that this was a good match. Back and forth. It fit the world title well. However, Sandow's push was over after this. He came at the worst time with the briefcase. I'm pretty sure they knew that they were unifying the titles here, and he didn't fit in the plans. Not to mention, he was the wrong guy in the beginning. Cena returned to SmackDown later that week and promised he'll be on the show as long as he's champion. Now, I remember this very well. This guy used to feature in a bunch of six-man tag team matches around the end of 2013 with or without the title. Now, you guys know, Zeb Coulter hates people that hop the border, and since Cena beat Del Rio, a Mexican, he was hoping Cena joined the real Americans. Cena roasted Swagger and said he had a tent in his pants seeing him. Swagger's excited to see him. He made fun of Cesaro, threatened all of them, and then Damien Sandow came out without the briefcase. That's it. He claimed Cena was handed everything and called him a false champion. The Brotherhood, Rhodes, and Goldust made the save, and it led to a six-man tag team match. It's well known, but WWE's finest import in 2013 was six-man tag team matches. The babyfaces won here and on Raw as well, except this time Del Rio watched Cena from the outside. Fun match though. The Del Rio story continued later that week with the challenger attacking Cena after his match with Ryback and going after that arm. Cena was going through hell dealing with the real Americans in a handicap match, and afterwards Del Rio's attacking him and using a chair to inflict damage on that already injured arm. Later that week on SmackDown, Del Rio showed great confidence in beating Cena and was ready for an arm wrestling contest. The champ said that Del Rio got him, but he proved he isn't the greatest Mexican champion. If anything, he's desperate, because if he loses at Survivor Series, he loses everything. Cena was ready and said he'll break Del Rio's arm. That was a no contest for the challenger. Super Cena was in full force at this point, so we wanted a rematch. This was a tactic for Alberto Del Rio to go after the champ and continue the work from earlier that week. He almost took out the good arm, but ended up throwing him through the table. A torn tricep was the biggest problem Cena endured up to this point, and with Survivor Series ahead, he had no choice but to compete. That's the story here. Cena doubted himself but said he's a champion. A champion has resolve and courage, and he told Alberto Del Rio that he doesn't know who he's stepping in with. Pain is temporary, pride is forever. Del Rio came out asking questions, asking him to hold the title with his broken arm, and he saw this as a great opportunity to destroy him, and it turned out that Cena didn't care. He almost dropped it with the AA, and the momentum swung in Cena's way. He wasn't completely hurt, This time around, they gave them plenty of time to best Hell in a Cell and put on a memorable match. Similar story with most of the attention being on Cena's arm. Now, I didn't like this one. Hell in a Cell was a bit better in my opinion, not to mention it was predictable. Everyone knew Cena would retain. It wasn't a bad match though. Very limited to what it could truly be due to a bunch of reasons. The arm story, Del Rio being essentially a mid-carder again, and a very dull show. They weren't going to save this one. Cena retained the title, but his night wasn't over. Later that night, John Cena confronted the WWE Champion Randy Orton. The Authority were well aware of something going down at the moment, having spoken to John Cena earlier. It seemed very clear where this was going. The next night on Raw, John Cena and Randy Orton went face to face. Orton considered himself the face of WWE, and Cena countered his claims. He thought it was time that there should only be one champion, and Cena made the challenge. The Authority were convinced, Orton was not. They booked a TLC match for both titles. So WWE finally decided to unify the titles. The brand split was over at this point, so it made sense, and if anything, it made the world title more legitimate. Orton claimed he was a bigger name than Cena and WWE itself. Cena calls himself the champ. Something's gotta give. A contract signing was held for the match on the December 2nd, 2013 episode of Raw. Orton's comments had brought tension between him and the Authority. Triple H relayed the history of the WWE title and used this match as a way to determine who was the face of WWE. Both men signed, and it was time for them to speak. Orton was talking like they never feuded before, starting to make mention of their previous problems. Cena told him to shut up and made a mockery out of him before saying Triple H's dream was turned into a nightmare because Orton failed to live to his potential. Unlike him, he earned everything he got. Orton, on the other hand, failed, which is funny. I think it's kind of funny how they're explaining how Orton was a bit of a failure here. They literally expected this guy to be the greatest of all time or something, which is a bit ridiculous. And in general, he had already accomplished what was expected of him up to this point. Realistically, of course, because some people pretty much believed Randy Orton to be the greatest of all time. He threatened him and was ready to use tables, ladders, and chairs. The question was, are you going to step up or step aside? He flipped the table and a brawl ensued. Cena knew how to navigate during this match and made good on his promises. He used every weapon and stood on top to end the show. On the final Raw before TLC, a championship Ascension ceremony was held, and let's just say Daniel Bryan stole the show. A lot of previous world champions were in the ring, and this man was the center of attention in a situation WWE didn't want him to be. This was of course in Seattle, but Bryan's popularity had a strong chokehold on the product at the time. Orton told Cena that he doesn't have ruthless aggression because he would have sent him to the hospital. That's a big mistake because he's going to regret it at TLC. Orton was upset over the lazy comments, but he was motivated to beat him at TLC. And that motivation is right there, the titles. He mentioned everybody he destroyed and claimed he would have destroyed Bret Hart in the past, which would mean there wasn't a screw job. This is where Orton was going. Cena heard the word work and brought out Daniel Bryan, a hard worker. He trashed Orton and criticized him for his behavior in the past, and winning these titles for Orton means he fulfills what he should have 10 years ago, which again is kind of funny how they're saying it like that. He can flex and show off. For him, John Cena, he's the same man. Want some, come get some. He gives opportunities. Dolph Ziggler, CM Punk, and of course Daniel Bryan, he was ready to give him a rematch too. That's what being a champion is. He didn't want to send him to the hospital last week. It was about sending a message, and he wished him luck. They shook hands, and a brawl ensued. Punk got involved, drops Triple H, HBK with the sweet chin music, Bryan with the knee, and Orton accidentally knocks down Stephanie, leading to Triple H dropping him with the pedigree, and there was a sign of Orton's worst outcome, Cena being a part of the Authority. Now, the way WWE booked this, they wanted it to be the biggest match out there. It was two of their biggest stars and arguably their most important match together. Problem was, Orton and Cena faced each other a little too much in the past, so the match WWE imagined wasn't going to be there, and in addition, this match was at TLC, one of the least successful versions of the pay-per-view. That said, this is a very underrated TLC match. Funny hearing John Cena, Randy Orton, and underrated, but despite TLC as a concept being hard to innovate, these guys had some great and creative spots, such as this where Cena blasts Orton with a ladder, sending him through the table. Orton was bleeding throughout the match, was sadistic and fully focused on slowing the pace and hitting hard, whereas Cena was all over the place. Both men were more ambitious despite their status, and what I mean by that is both men worked a little too hard to make this match good. Other main eventers would have coasted with the other spots. Here, they were more creative, especially the ending with Orton pulling a handcuffed Cena off the top of the ladder to retrieve the belt and become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Good match. They took a different route with this one and had more elaborate spots. For Cena, this was his final World Heavyweight Championship reign, and it was pretty basic. Nothing special about it. If I had to give a key difference, it's that he appeared on SmackDown more often and was a workhorse. He had those high energy matches and showed a lot of his experience in there, giving Damien Sandow his best match probably. It was very different to the traditional Cena you expect, and he showed signs of this all the way back to 2011. It's just 2013 where it was more apparent. Then of course 2015 was where he exploded and went all out. Fast forward to June 2014, fresh off his feud with Bray Wyatt, Cena was once again in pursuit of championship gold. Daniel Bryan's untimely injury brought his title reign to an end. This led to the Money in the Bank ladder match for the vacant WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Sheamus, Bray Wyatt, Alberto Del Rio, Cesaro, Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, and Kane were the opponents. I don't know what it is about Orton and ladder matches, but once again he bled profusely here. Great match though. Multi-man ladder matches are never disappointing, and Cena here won his 15th World Championship, much to the dismay of the Authority. This was one of John Cena's weakest title reigns. He got a good match to start it off though. It's just this ladder match comes between 2013 and the following year, so it doesn't stand out much. Were people happy Cena won? Hell no. But everyone had an idea of where this was going because the SummerSlam poster leaked. Brock Lesnar was coming off one of the most shocking victories, and with all this momentum, he was bound to challenge for the title, a title he hadn't challenged for in about 10 years. The next night on Raw, the Authority were looking to get on John Cena's good side. The champ was very hostile towards them and was ready to give Daniel Bryan a rematch since the Authority wouldn't. This didn't mean they weren't in the business of giving. They gave Cena the cover of 2K15. That game sucked. And Stephanie's dancing was, I don't even know. Getting on Cena's good graces caught on, and he brought out an image from the previous night. The game assured him that they never had a problem with John Cena. That was no issue, as long as he does it with respect, and reminded him that all of this could go away. Now this story doesn't really work, because no matter what WWE portrayed John Cena as, he was the face of the company. And you and I were never going to see it differently. Triple H booked a fatal 4-way match for Battleground. Randy Orton, Kane, and Roman Reigns were the opponents. It was a tough pill to swallow for Cena, but he was up for the challenge. Later that night, he teamed up with the big dog to face Randy Orton and Kane. High drama with Cena dealing with multiple problems. Kane, Randy Orton, Triple H watching on, and an attempted cash-in that never officially began. The game was insistent on the match beginning when Dean Ambrose ran in and prevented the match from going down. Roman returned and dropped Kane with a spear. Cena was the man to target at this point, and he knew very well that it comes with being champion. Seth Rollins had made his intentions clear. Kane, Orton, Roman Reigns, everyone wanted that title. Yeah, another cash-in attempt thwarted by Dean Ambrose. Roman was a slight ally in the build to the match at Battleground, but that ended up changing. On the final Raw before Battleground, John Cena came out to speak about his fatal 4-way match. He expressed doubts over the result of the match and said he doesn't need to be pinned to lose the title. All of a sudden, Roman Reigns came out. Cena thanked the big dog and said they should try to make it until Sunday. Roman wanted him to get to the point, and the point was Cena wanted to handle the Authority ahead of Battleground. Then we'll see if Roman's as good as he thinks he is. He agreed, but did it in a generic way because this was babyface Roman, very green. He didn't get that confidence about him until like a year later. Ambrose and the Beck calmed things down but got attacked by the Authority. They left him laying, and his status in the main event was doubtful. Ambrose did return during the match, but Cena's biggest worry was Roman, who accidentally speared him. Orton dropped his own partner with an RKO and ended up taking a spear as well. Roman ended the show on top, teasing what was to come at Battleground. Very average build, but the match was bound to be good. It was a fatal 4-way match. These kind of matches rarely disappoint towards more work rate and in-ring stuff. One notable thing about the build is the fact that Roman Reigns was treated like a big deal. They wanted you to know that this man was going to be big in the future, and not just a star, but the star. With that said, let's talk about the match. Orton and Kane worked as a duo to neutralize Roman and Cena, and the pace was slow, but the damage was felt. WWE was constantly dragging the Roman and Cena battle with Kane and Orton constantly thwarting their attacks. That didn't last for long though, and the partnership was over. Cena had plenty of battle in him and pushed Orton to the limit with the SCF, but then Roman prevented Orton from tapping. This led to the hyped one-on-one match, and it was intense. They made you believe Roman was their guy. The seeds were planted for a match between Roman and Orton at SummerSlam, and it was a finisher fest from here on. Near falls, false finishes, and it was kind of good. Cena just so happened to be at the right place at the right time, and he made the most out of that opportunity. He hit the AA on Orton, dropping him on Kane to retain the title. It was a similar finish to his match at Survivor Series 2009. Roman looked extremely strong despite the loss, as he didn't take the pin, not to mention did most of the work. Almost won the match on multiple occasions, but now Cena was off to SummerSlam. The next night on Raw, it seemed like Randy Orton was the number one contender for the title, but all of a sudden, Roman Reigns came out and attacked him. Plan A didn't work. Plan B, Seth Rollins was cursed at the moment because Dean Ambrose was constantly stopping Rollins from cashing in. So Paul Heyman brought out Plan C, Brock Lesnar. The Beast hadn't appeared on Raw since he broke the streak at WrestleMania 30, and he was the one despite the tension between himself and the game. Triple H made it official and Paul Heyman got on the mic. He introduced himself and his client, made their intentions known, and Heyman also acknowledged that there was a divide, those that love Cena and those that hate him. He also assured everyone that he wasn't talking nonsense, he was giving lessons of history. And of course, he mentioned WrestleMania 30. Heyman said that Lesnar will give Cena the same beating and promised that there won't be no offer for mercy from the Beast. They took great offense at Cena being called the greatest world champion of all time and called it a challenge worth conquering. It felt like hell was about to rain down upon John Cena. WWE had made great strides in re-establishing Brock Lesnar as the Beast. This included ending the streak, so anything except a win wasn't acceptable. It didn't take long for Cena to respond. He kicked off Raw the following week to talk about SummerSlam and Brock Lesnar. It wasn't all joyous happy for John Cena as he realized that the Authority want the title off of him, that they hired a mercenary. It wasn't a shocker for Cena to know that some fans wanted Brock Lesnar to destroy him, and they made their intentions known. Even though Lesnar ended the streak and left this path of destruction, Cena still had confidence that he could beat Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, and if he didn't, then he'll wrestle whenever he wants, and nobody could stop him. And there's Paul Heyman. He gave Cena a daunting preview of what's to come, but also told him that he's never been victimized like he was against Brock Lesnar. It went beyond a wrestling match. It was about embarrassing John Cena. He's gonna be beaten, victimized, and conquered. The champ finally spoke and made mention of the word passion, and this brought out the three most important letters in Heyman's career: ECW. He may have a black heart, but when he sees that passion, it sparks something in him. And basically, Cena wanted him to know that he has passion, something Heyman could respect. Lesnar, on the other hand, has no passion. He's just a beast. And Cena said, quote, "He may beat the hell out of me, but he's gonna have to beat every last breath out of this body because I'm heading SummerSlam as champion, and I walk out with this son of a bitch." Great promo. Cena showed that fighting spirit that hadn't been shown in a while, and the match was more than just Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. It was passion versus destruction. Everyone Cena faces has some semblance of passion and interest in being the best. For Brock, while he does want to be the best, it comes naturally to him. Not to mention, he doesn't seem interested in putting on a show for the fans. All of a sudden, Cesaro came out and trashed Cena's look. So the champ was like, this jacked up walking billboard is going to wrestle circles around you, and they have a match. The match was solid, but as expected, Cena came out on top. They had better matches later on. With that said, Lesnar reiterated what Cena said. He didn't care about anything except causing destruction and becoming champion. There's no passion involved. He found it strange that people were doubting him when he beat The Undertaker, so why can't he beat John Cena? It was much different on Cena's side. He was more humble and also well aware of what and who he was dealing with. He also called this the toughest match of his career. It's common knowledge. Lesnar also took a shot at Cena, saying if he stayed in WWE, Cena would be away eating Fruity Pebbles. The champ saw this as him being the only one that could stop Brock Lesnar. Lesnar as champion moves away from passion and turns into something entirely different. Brock Lesnar even said he'll leave him in a pile of blood, urine, and vomit. I love the presentation here. It really felt like one of the biggest SummerSlam matches of all time because it was just that. And they did very well with the build to make it seem like John Cena was going through hell because Brock Lesnar broke the streak. This guy was number one in the company and it was going to be a tough task for him to overcome. There was only one way the match should have gone, and everyone knows how it did, obviously. It was basically a foregone conclusion that Brock Lesnar was going to win the title here, because that's what made most sense. Plus, Brock Lesnar had never challenged for the title since he returned, so it made sense for him to go after it. On the final Raw before SummerSlam, John Cena gave his final thoughts regarding his match with the Beast. He did expect Lesnar to destroy him, but the one thing he won't do is win. Why? Because for him, he has to make him lose, and he refuses to lay down for him. Once again, Cena called him a bully and the most difficult wrestler. At the end of the day, it's business, but he doesn't deserve this. The criticism wasn't just about Brock. He asked himself when was he gonna stop wearing the hats and the Kmart shoes, and Sunday, he has to become a beast to beat the Beast. This is what's necessary to beat Brock Lesnar. He also provoked the challenger, telling him if it's his house, there's a stranger standing in his living room. When Brock didn't show up, Cena called him a punk bitch. Since he didn't show up, Cena said he's the one that beats the one. Okay, great promo. Cena showed a lot of great energy here. A lot of passion, which is something he once criticized Lesnar for during the promo. It was very nice stuff. Later that night, Hulk Hogan had a birthday celebration. Brock Lesnar crashed the party and told Hogan, quote, "Party's over, Grandpa." I love that moment. It was just funny and very simple. John Cena quickly ran into the ring and wanted a fight. Lesnar, though, backed off. Strong build. Cena put on a strong front in the face of adversity, and he showed doubts, but as time went on, was more determined and confident about his chances. It was obvious where this was going, but we didn't really understand what was going to happen. Like, if you had to guess at this point, Brock Lesnar was going to beat John Cena for that title. They built him up. He was built up as this big bad champion, and John Cena's reign was going to end. Full-on fight in Los Angeles. Lesnar quickly went on the attack and delivered an onslaught before hitting an F5. And from here, Brock was dishing out a slow but painful beating. Did Cena show heart? Yeah, he showed heart, but heart will get you nowhere with Brock Lesnar. This was a mauling with the crowd and commentary silenced. Lesnar with several German suplexes, and just when you think Cena's out, he hits the AA, but it still wasn't enough, and Lesnar sat up. John Cena had this look of despair on his face and knew that his promise wasn't going to come to fruition, because he was dealing with the beast, the 1-21-1, the guy that ended the streak, the guy who was practically 99 overall at this point. Brock hit almost 20 German suplexes, I believe it was 16. Cena was demoralized and obliterated like never before, and in the end, after this brutal beating, an SCF attempt that went south, didn't work out well, Lesnar hit the F5 to become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. This match was like the death of John Cena's Super Cena character. It was slowly being destroyed before our very eyes, and after this match, his stats were nerfed. The Super Cena we knew was gone after this. Sure, he showed up from time to time, but it wasn't the same. It just wasn't. With regards to this title reign, it was transitional. It was like the last one, except this one I thought was a bit better. Some nice matches on Raw with Seth Rollins, the Fatal 4-Way at Battleground, and of course the ending. The Brock Lesnar and John Cena match was absolutely tremendous. It was masterfully done and showed that WWE wasn't really scared to do something entirely different with John Cena, because some wrestlers, this would have been character assassination, but John Cena didn't have much to lose at this point and already had a great career. With somebody else, you can't really do that. Nice match, great storyline. It really added to the Brock Lesnar story that they had been building for the last couple of months. It was nice. Throughout 2014 and 2015, John Cena's pursuit of that elusive 16th title was unsuccessful. On the other side, he racked up many classics, which makes his 16th title era his strongest from an in-ring standpoint. There came a time where it felt like the beginning of the end of his WWE career. He was doing more outside and at the same time losing a lot more. The AJ Styles story was a perfect story to catapult John Cena to a level only one man reached, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and that was title reign number 16. Cena came into 2017 determined to win the title. His match at the Royal Rumble ranks amongst WWE's greatest matches of all time, and it was the Alamo Dome, one of the biggest Royal Rumble events of all time. And it was the culmination of the feud, and they did it in a big way. For John Cena, it was his 16th title. Great moment, amazing stuff. I remember when I watched this, January 2017, the day after the Rumble, I was amazed. It was my favorite WWE match of 2017. Nothing came close to it. There were some nice matches here and there, but to me, this match with the story, the action, the fact that they didn't even leave the ring, which I didn't notice at all until somebody mentioned it later on. All of this, when you add it up, it's one of WWE's best matches of all time, and it's one of John Cena's most iconic. Hell, it was John Cena's last iconic match. I don't think there's a match that surpassed this since then for him. The champ came out later that week on SmackDown. He apologized to AJ Styles for calling him a guy from Atlanta and said that he's an elite wrestler who pushed him to bring out the very best. He said that there's no time for celebration and he was ready to defend the title at Elimination Chamber. All of a sudden, Bray Wyatt interrupted. The Royal Rumble winner Randy Orton was by his side. The Eater of Worlds said that the more things change, the more things stay the same. This related to John Cena winning the title. But he had no problem with this. Why? Because Cena is going to be trapped inside the chamber with him, and then it will be the era of Wyatt. Bray said that if Cena didn't believe him, then he could ask Randy Orton. The Viper said that if Cena manages to go through the chamber, he'll be waiting for him at WrestleMania. One way or another, they're going to end this cycle. The Wyatts are going to set that title free, and they tried going after him. This led to Luke Harper making the save and Shane McMahon booking an impromptu tag team match. Harper at this point was a wild card. He was out of the Wyatt family and was getting in their heads. Cena's not booked strong here as he lost his first match as champion with Orton dropping him with an RKO. So at this point, it was a matter of situations. Orton just won the Rumble, Cena just became champion. Something had to give if they were going to book this match. In other places, the SmackDown stars were making their presence felt ahead of Elimination Chamber. Cena in the lead up to the Elimination Chamber went one-on-one with the Viper the following week on SmackDown. Orton's mission was to roughen up Cena ahead of the Chamber for Bray Wyatt. This was a good match. I think it helped that they brought this feud and used the main event formula of this time period. The finishers, the drama, near falls, all that. Cena made Orton tap out, but the ref was down. Wyatt ran in, they jumped him, and Harper made the save. And Harper's help was enough for Cena to score the victory. Good match. It really was. And I believe it was the last time John Cena and Randy Orton faced off. If you would have told me at that time, I would have believed you. Just thinking about it now, it's kind of strange, actually. With regards to Elimination Chamber, this match was wonderful. It was amazing. Styles and Cena had a nice battle in the beginning. Ambrose comes in and causes chaos, but the real star was AJ Styles. This man took over the match and had an impressive performance. Cena, though, not so much. It was a bit shocking how it happened, though. The Miz entered the match with all this fire putting in the work, but then Cena just grabbed him, hit the AA, and eliminated him like he was a jobber. As expected, the most interesting part of this match was Cena and Styles. I think if they had 3 more matches, nobody would have had a problem. There's something entirely different to AJ Styles when compared to Edge, Orton, and Punk. He pushed this extra motivation out of him. With AJ Styles, it was like another level that we didn't really see before out of John Cena. It's very strange to think about, but like John Cena was even better with AJ Styles. I think was something special. And in the end, it wasn't Styles that got the nod over Cena. It was Bray Wyatt. He dropped him with the Sister Abigail. 1, 2, 3, new champion. Cena was eliminated, and this meant Styles and Wyatt were fighting for the right to become WWE champion. Great battle between them. Styles was very ambitious, and that's what cost him, as Bray Wyatt caught AJ Styles and hit Sister Abigail. 1, 2, 3, new champion. Wow. I remember this moment very well. Very tremendous stuff to see Bray Wyatt actually win a title, a world title in WWE. It was very strange to actually see it happen. I remember that day very well. I loved AJ Styles. I'm going to say it right now. I loved AJ Styles. Hell, if you would have asked me who should have won this, I would have chosen AJ Styles because this guy was on a whole other level in 2017. He was operating like nobody. But I was proud to see Bray Wyatt win. I was very proud and happy to see him win because this guy had gone through some pushes that didn't work out because of booking. The stories themselves were sometimes strange, but it was all worth it for this moment. Like, this guy eliminated John Cena and AJ Styles, 2 of WWE's most decorated wrestlers up to this point, to win that title. It can't really get any better than that unless he beat them at WrestleMania or something. It was really an amazing moment. I was very proud of Bray Wyatt. The fans were certainly proud of him. They were applauding. They were excited. They were happy to see him become the champion. But there was an ominous viper looming over his head. Alright, that's John Cena's final title reign. It remains to be seen if he becomes the 17th champion. But with regards to title reign number 16, very bad. When I mean bad, I don't mean this title reign. No. What I mean by that is, for a 16th title reign that was hyped up for 2.5 years, it was bad. It was always meant to be a transitional reign because of the fact that Orton won the Royal Rumble and they were planning the Bray Wyatt feud and all that. But with that said, I think they were expecting to do the 17th title reign in the near future, but they didn't get to it. So it is what it is. So that's the video. John Cena had 3 very transitional reigns. These were his last title reigns, and I think they should have been better, but they were planning ahead. They were always planning something ahead other than John Cena. You know, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, and of course Bray Wyatt and the whole Randy Orton story from WrestleMania 33. So there's that. He was very transitional here. A lot of great matches though. I'm going to say right now, these 3 title reigns had a lot of great matches, especially the second. Third one lasted 2 weeks, but they kind of got something out of it, so there's that. But yeah, my favorite out of these is most definitely 2014. It led to the Brock Lesnar match, which was special. But yeah, he was very transitional at this point, and it remains to be seen how things will go in the future for John Cena. Who knows? Maybe he will win that 17 title. We'll see. So yeah. Alright, what did you guys think of John Cena's title reigns? Please comment down below, and that's it for this video. Make sure you hit the STF on the like button and perhaps the AA on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.